Hi, my name is Bibek Adhikari. I am a English instructor. In today's class, we are going to solve the writing portion of Unit 19 and 18. So, let's begin. Alright everyone, this is the writing section of Unit 18. We have four different pictures. I try to draw them more or less the exact, but it's quite tough. Now let's see, we have the first picture. This is the first picture that we have, and here we have a boy who is drowning. In the second picture, the girl sees the boy and tries to save. So this is the second picture. In the third picture, the boy is almost dead. Look at his legs. And the girl jumps to save the boy. So this is the third picture. In the last picture, the fourth picture, the girl actually saves the boy. Correct? Now, the question is to describe the following pictures using the prepositions of motion. Can you do it? Alright, let's start. Let's use the prepositions of motion and describe the picture. Alright, this is the tentative paragraph that I have written using some of the prepositions of motion. The boy knew little about swimming, but also he jumped into the river. The current was high and he was easily swept off. Slowly he started sinking, going down and down. He let out a cry. The girl heard it, ran up to him, plunged into the pool. The boy was struggling hard to breathe. She went under the water and released him out of the river. Alright, we used some of the prepositions of motion like into, off, down. Again, we used into. We use the word up to, words up to. There are two separate words. We use the word under and finally out of. Like this, you can try out, writing about anything. You can describe any kind of picture by using the prepositions of motion. Alright, let's go to another section of writing. Let us now look at the writing portion of Unit 17. That is about predicting and agreeing and disagreeing with certain terms. Let us look at this picture. Here's a man who is trying to cut a tree. Alright, we have some questions like, let's say, what is the man doing? The man is cutting the tree, right? This is the man who is cutting the tree. Alright, why is he cutting the tree? Maybe he is cutting the tree for the firewood. Or maybe he wants to build a house. We can say he's cutting the tree for timber. Or maybe he's cutting the tree just for fun. That could also be possible, for fun. Or maybe he's a professional woodcutter who wants to supply woods, to the market. So these could be the probable reason. What may happen after 10 years? So after 10 years, if the woodcutters cut trees like this, there would be no trees. And Earth would be a, darker, bit difficult place to live in. Now let's go to the writing portion. Look at the beginning of the dialogue below and complete it with what may or will happen in 10 years' time if woodcutters continue cutting down the trees. Let's look at the example first. Alright, this is the first set of example that is given in your book. First is in 10 years' time, there won't be any trees left in the forest. So we have this Mr. and Miss A who is trying to, give some opinion. So it is his opinion that he is trying to, convey to B. In 10 years' time, there won't be any trees left in the forest. And what is B doing? Is he agreeing or disagreeing? So we are going to use the agreeing and disagreeing structure. There are some structures on agreeing and disagreeing, so please read them. He uses a structure called you are probably right. Now this structure, you are probably right, is an agreeing structure, or we can say that B agrees with A. Woodcutters are cutting down trees indiscriminately. Again, he gives his own opinion, so we have another opinion. So here we had opinion 1, then we had opinion 2 down below. Correct? So what's all about this writing section? It's about two people talking about something. A would say something and B would either agree or disagree with A's saying. That's all. So let's look at some more examples. Now this is another set of example. We have A and B like the earlier example. Now in this section, A said something like, in 10 years time the temperature of the world would go on and on. That means there would be an increase in the temperature. And B says, I think you're right. So what is B doing? B is clearly agreeing with A. He's not disagreeing. He is clearly agreeing with Mr. A. And B says, woodcutters would clear up all the forest and the problem of global warming would arise. So this is something like, A says something and B also agrees with it. B agrees wholeheartedly and he uses some structure of agreement. Structures of agreement could be seen. A may use some structures like, you're right, that's a good idea, that's right, exactly, me too, yes, I agree, I totally agree, I see what you mean, things like that. So A uses the structures of agreement. Structures of agreement. Alright, let's look at some more examples. Alright, this is another set of example. We have A and B, like always. And A says in 10 years time the world would be a polluted place, right? No human would be alive due to extreme pollution. Now this is a strong, idea. This is a strong argument. And B said something like, I don't agree with you. B is now not agreeing, but rather, disagreeing with A's idea. Although woodcutters are cutting down trees indiscriminately, there have been some afforestation programs also. Now, B seems to be positive about these, afforestation programs. So he says, I don't agree with A. Now, what did B do? B used some of the disagreeing structures. Structures like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you. I don't think that's correct. Or structures like, I don't agree, I totally disagree. Absolutely not. That's not right. I'm not sure about that. So B used some of, structures of disagreement. So we used some of the structures of this agreement. With that, we have come to the end of today's class. Now, I'm going to give you some homework like usual. I'm going to, in fact, give you two homeworks. Alright, these are your two homeworks. The first homework is describe an interesting incident of your life using the prepositions of motion. Now, do you remember all the prepositions of motion? Well, you should. Now, using all those, different kind of preposition of motions, I want you to write about an interesting incident of your life. All right, like it could be an educational tour that you went last summer, or it could be, some interesting things that you did last Dasai. So bear that in mind and write an interesting paragraph using all the prepositions of motion that you know. Your second question is, right, what do you think about woodcutters cutting down the trees randomly? You know that woodcutters are cutting down the trees randomly. They are destroying the community forest. They are even destroying the national forest. Now, I want you to write some opinion paragraphs on this. Alright, it is something like, op-ed column of the newspaper, opinion editorial columns. You could write, let's say, 2 or 3 paragraphs, and you should give your own opinions. Do you think is it a good practice to cut down all the trees of the world? Or do you think it's a bad practice? So based on that, you can either agree or disagree. Alright? You can either agree or disagree. And also you can support your argument by giving some extra piece of information or extra data, something like that. You can cite from newspapers or some resources. Alright? With this, we have come to the end of today's class. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding this video series, feel free to write us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.